if you like. Torah Or, Vayera, page 26, second column, new paragraph. Okay, so the Rebbe is explaining that the nefesh is not seichel and midas. It's only the nefesh functions through seichel and midas. The nefesh beautifies itself through seichel and midas, but it's not seichel and midas. So we'll understand also in the 10 spheres of the worlds, which are called in the Zohar tikkunin. Tikkunin is translated like garment, jewelry. Hainu chochma midas d'atzilus. Chochma midas of atzilus, which is ir v'gamer echad, where atzilus, Hashem and the midas are all one, but in the world of biyah, in bechinas levushim mamish garments. The Alter Rebbe says that there's a difference between jewelry and garments. Okay, garments cover you, jewelry beautifies you. So in Atzilus, where the whole world is one with godliness, so over there they're called tikkunin, jewelry, because Hashem is functioning in a great way. In the Biyah already, then it's called levushim, because over there it mamish covers elokus. It's like the covering that blocks elokus. It says you are chochma, but not in the known level of chochma. What does that mean? Antu erin sof. You erin sof chakim shenim shebechinas chochma. That elokus comes into the level of chochma, and where you find Hashem's greatness, there you see His humility. Okay, it says like this. It says in Patach Eliyahu, Antu chakim v'lei b'chochma yadir. You are chochma, but not in the known level of chochma. Okay, so the Alter Rebbe explains, what does that mean? If you're chochma, then what do you mean not in the known level of chochma? So the Rebbe explains that in Atzilus, chochma is not actual chochma, it's the source of chochma. In other words, the chochma begins in Bria. It says, if you shumakar chochma v'atzilus, because chochma atzilus is bittul. Okay? It's not even a tangible level of chochma, as intangible that chochma is. Even atzilus doesn't have that. But it's still a level. He says, Antu chakim v'lei b'chochma yadim means your level of chochma is not the known level of chochma, which is a tangible chochma. It is the source of chochma. It creates chochma. Ala shenik v'shumakar ha-chochma u'mimenu amshach chochma b'biyah. And there comes chochma to biyah. He says, Agam she'ein arei chochma de bria. Even though chochma bria has no connection to Atzilus, and definitely Asiya to be called chochma alzeh, even though l'chayr there's no direct connection between bria and Atzilus, because bria is already yesh mi'ayin. Bria is already an entity. Chochma, Atzilus is completely bittul. So he says this, that Atzilus has a level of chochma, or all the other spheres for that matter, it's that is the source of a tangible chochma. Hine Yuv and Zeh will understand this. Al derech mashma she'omer hazal ein loch koleisa. There is no grass down here that doesn't have a mazel that hits it and makes it grow. And then the pasuk said gavaya mal gavaya, even higher, all the way up. It says like this. He gives a mashal. Tapur gashmius yesh be mesikas. A physical apple is sweet. If you get a lousy, rotten, the bitter apple, whatever. And the person who eats it's going to be sweet. So he says, Ha'im nem are we going to say, are we going to say that in the power of vegetation in the earth that makes the apple grow is the sweetness of the apple? But let's take it in this second level. You have an apple seed, yeah? You plant it in the ground, out comes an apple tree. Now, in this seed is the potential for every aspect of the apple. the seed that's in the apple that you can replant another tree with, right? Now, if you take that seed and eat it, it's probably bitter, has no taste whatsoever of the apple. So why this seed creates an apple and this seed creates a pear? If it has nothing to do with an apple, why doesn't the apple seed create a pear? The answer is it has the potential for apple, not potential for anything else. So even though technically the seed has no connection, or even more so, the power of vegetation in the earth, that you plant the seed, out comes it, and not only that, like Rashi says in Chumash, Rashi says in the olden times, they didn't have what we have today, but they were much smarter. Rashi says in Chumash that the farmers would taste the earth and know what's best to grow on this piece of land. So let's say they tasted this land for an apple orchard. Yeah? There's definitely no taste of an apple in the dirt that they tasted to know that this land is good, the potential to grow apples. Yet this land creates apples. This seed creates an apple. So he says, Ha'im nema, we're going to say, that it has the sweetness of the apple? For sure not. Upshita b'mazel, how much more so? The mazel that hits the apple and makes it grow, for sure has no sweetness in the apple. But what is it? It's the potential for it. In your next page, Shamasikas nimshach b'chesed. Sweetness comes from the attribute of chesed. Umerira, and bitterness comes from gvura. Those are inyanim ruchni. Those are spiritual things. Yeah? Chesed and gvura are spiritual. Yet, but when it comes down level after level, chesed of atzilus, when it comes down level after level after level after level, that from chesed comes physical sweetness. Even though you can't compare the physical sweetness to the apple, but it's that connection, I mean, it's that makeup, their characteristic trait. Because there's many arivas and mesikas beruchnias. Okay, let's talk a little bit. This is such fundamental stuff. When it says in Chumash, Yad Hashem, Yad Yisos Yad HaGedela. So Yad, what do you mean they didn't see a hand? The Jews didn't see a hand by Kriyas Yamsuf when it said they saw the big hand of Hashem. What does it mean? They saw chesed, kindness of Hashem by the splitting of the sea. I saw a clip. It said, it's in Hebrew, but to Hamas, it says, if Egypt is not letting you in, why don't you jump into the ocean? Because for us it worked. For the Jews it worked, why don't you jump into the ocean? Anyway, so you can't, so what do you mean they saw the Yad Hashem, they saw the hand of Hashem? So Yad Hashem is chesed, or like we say in Pasuk Leo, chesed d'raya yamina. Chesed is the right hand of Hashem. So what does that mean? So some Chassadik and Echad Tzachel explains, I'm sure other places of Chassidus explain, that two things. Number one, when we say chesed is the right hand of Hashem, meaning that level of elokus, of chesed, functions like the right hand of a person. Meaning, when you speak about right hand, you bring him close with the right hand, push him away with the left hand. Right hand symbolizes act of chesed. So we're saying chesed d'raya yamina, it means chesed, which is the source of the hand, functions like a hand. Just like a hand gives chesed, so that's what chesed is. Another explanation Chassidus explains, why is chesed called d'raya yamina, the right hand of Hashem? Because what is the spiritual source of this right hand? Everything has a spiritual source. This hand is down here, but in other words, let's take it the other way. Chesed of Atzilus comes down, 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 down. It becomes a right hand. Water is also chesed. Sweetness is also chesed. So there's millions of levels in chesed. So when chesed of Atzilus, keeps coming down, 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 sometimes it becomes a right hand. Sometimes it becomes a sweetness. Sometimes it becomes water. It's all chesed. What's the spiritual source of water? Chesed of Atzilus. What's the spiritual source of a right hand? Chesed of Atzilus. So when chesed, he says, what does it mean though? It's the potential in Atzilus. It's like the power of sweetness that's in the earth, or taking to a second level, in the seed, is the potential for it. But that apple seed is not going to create a pear. There's no apple in there, but it's the potential for the apple. Therefore, is the seed an apple? No. You wouldn't even make a eitz on an apple seed. What bracha would you make on an apple seed if it's edible? You'd make adama. It's not an apple. So that's what he's saying. What are the 10 sfiras? Actual chachma, bina, das, chesed, tangible levels, that's in bria. In biyah. That's where it becomes tangible. That's why Pasach Eliyahu is saying, Antu chakim v'lei b'chachma yediyah. Meaning, you are not Atzilus, because over there it says, the 10 tikkunim, 10 jewelries. Right? In Bria, then they actually become garments, because garments cover the person. Jewelry doesn't cover the person. It enhances the person. Chesed of Atzilus is jewelry. Chachma of Atzilus is jewelry. Where does it become actual garments? In the world of Bria, where it's tangible Chachma. It's not bottle anymore. So he's saying that what is the level of Antu Chakim Leiba Chacham Yadim means in Atzilus, in the Tikkunim level, it's the source of Chacham, the source of Chesed and so on. Okay, so now he says like this. On page Yedal, 4 lines from the top. Just like you have spiritual pleasures. You have a physical pleasure, eating and drinking. Okay? But that's why some people, they say, somebody enjoys learning, and they learn something new that's like phenomenal. That's a sweetness. Or a song, the sweetness of a nigun. Which is the level of midas. The Rebbe is saying you have intellectual pleasures, you have emotional pleasures, like music. The Rebbe said, music is the pen of the soul. The Rebbe said, just like the mouth is the pen of the mind, it reveals the mind, nigun is the pen of the soul.
Sometimes sour is chesed.
Huh?
Sometimes sour is a chesed.
No, yes, but it's gvura shebachesed.
Sometimes the smell that wakes person up is a chesed.
That's gvura shebachesed, if that's the purpose of it.
So what is Alter Rebbe getting with this? Okay, we understand. So from the source we cannot say what it's all about.
It's a long mimer. But what Alter Rebbe is getting at, he's speaking about the 10 spheres, this mimer is Chassidus 101. What exactly the 10 spheres mean, what's the difference between Atzilus and Bria, and how it functions.
When it comes down to Bria, it becomes a kli dependent, Bria down.
A kli dependent?
Yes, chesed that comes down.
There's a keli in Atzilus also. But in Atzilus, the keli is Elokus. Ir v'chayer echad, him in Atzilus, him and the lights are one. Ir v'gamer echad, him and the kelim are one.
For example, on a tree, on the same branch, next to each other, you have two apples, one is sweet, one is not.
No, you don't. A bitter apple is a green apple, whatever. It's a different type of a tree.
It's a different stage of growth.
Yeah, things before they ripen are bitter.
Maybe they're mutated.
What?
Maybe they're mutated.
Mutated?
Yeah, they.
I know what the word mutated means. I do speak English. Yeah, but it's different. You have different levels of chesed.
That's an example. The point is...
Let me tell you something. What? You have, in chesed you have gvura. In gvura you have chesed. Okay? Now, chesed shebechesed is when I do kindness. Gvura shebechesed means I'm doing an act of gvura, but in reality it's kindness. The mashal that Chassidus gives, God forbid, don't even say the words today, you'll get locked up. Ha'ava makes b'nai. A father who is disciplining his child and therefore he'll give him a patch. Right? He's doing an act of patching, hitting. But because he loves his kid and he wants to discipline the kid, that hitting is an act of love. It just manifests itself not through chesed, it manifests itself through gvura, but really it's chesed. Now, what's chesed sheba gvura? A little kid wants something they shouldn't be getting because it's dangerous. Yeah, you're spoiling them. And the father says, yeah, take it, whatever you want. So you're doing an act of chesed, you're giving the kid whatever you want, but really you're doing an act of gvura, you're doing harm to the kid.
Rabbi, on the